to make a water rocket. This is much more powerful than the carbon dioxide rocket, and the things that you will need to build this are a cereal packet. So we're most interested in the plain side because that's the side that we can decorate and draw on, so you need that. You will also need a water bottle, typically one that's had carbonated water in it, so fizzy water bottles are particularly good, or carbonated water, because they're good at holding pressure. You'll need that. You will also need a tennis ball. An old tennis ball is absolutely fine. You can get them very cheaply from supermarkets. So we need those items. We will also need some electrical tape, or some kind of tape to secure, and some gaffer tape so that's a little stronger. So those are the different items that we're going to need. And what we're going to end up with is this rocket with the tennis ball at the top, and you can decorate the rocket in any way that you like, and then we've got the fins attached. The tennis ball provides gets the center of gravity further up the rocket. It makes it much more stable in flight. You get a much higher altitude with your rocket if you manage to get the center of gravity further up the rocket. The fins provide stability, otherwise your rocket will tend to fly sideways and it won't go quite as high. And we need the fins to be fairly rigid. The launch is quite violent, and if you've got flimsy fins, they can be torn off in the launch. And these things can go up to about 50 feet. You'll see in the instructions on the To The Moon website about how to get a launcher for this. But the actual bottle rocket itself is fairly simple to create. So that's what we're aiming at, this model here. I'm now going to take you through step by step how to build it. We're going to start with the nose cone. So here is my empty carbonated water bottle. When we do this in school, we remove the plastic ring that you'll find here. It's normally attached to the cap. You know, when you have to kind of snap the cap to take it off the first time you open it. That ring needs to be removed, otherwise the launcher won't work properly. We remove them already in school, but you might need a bit of help from an adult just to break that little ring off there. You must make sure that the bottle is complete and that there's no tears in it, otherwise you won't be able to build up the pressure necessary to launch. So the first thing we're going to do is try and get the center of gravity of the rocket towards the top by placing a tennis ball on top of the rocket. Now, in order to do that, we actually need half a tennis ball. So this tennis ball needs to become half a tennis ball. Stanley knives and things like that are good for doing that. You will need trusted adult help with doing that, but it's relatively simple if you're careful, just to chop a tennis ball in half. And what we want to be able to do is place this tennis ball on the top of the rocket. And the next part of what we're going to be doing is just about securing that, and that's where the gaffer tape comes in. So you need a length of gaffer tape. I've just created a cardboard cylinder at the bottom to hold it in position, and all you do is place the tape over the top of the tennis ball and secure it like that. And then, just to be sure that our nose cone is going to survive launch, we do that in two directions and just squash the gaffer tape around the top, and there is your nose cone for your rocket. And you can feel when you're holding the rocket now that the weight is very much towards the top, which is exactly where we need it to be. The next thing that we're going to be doing is the fins. Now, you can have lots of different types of fins for your rocket. You can see that I've gone for a very traditional aeroplane wing shaped fins on this one. You can decide what shape you want. The main thing that we're going to need to do is use 2 layers of card so that it's good and rigid and it's not just going to collapse on launch. So you take a piece of paper and create a paper template for your fin. So you can decide what shape it is. Make sure that you've got a dotted line with a section, a tab underneath there that we're going to use to secure the fin to the rocket, and we will fold that once it's chopped out. and use that with the tape to secure that to the rocket. I'll show you those once we've got them cut out, but have that dotted line. Second thing you need to do is to draw a number 1 on one side of your template and a number 2 on the other. The reason for that is we're going to want to stick these together, and if you just cut 6 of these out, if you're going to have a 3-finned rocket, you won't be able to stick them together and have the cardboard side that we want to decorate showing. What you'll end up having is the more plasticky coated side, which is much more difficult to decorate. So we're going to cut out 3 of the number 1s and 3 of the number 2 templates. So with the cereal packet, you'll find that when you open it up, there are some bits that have got corners. They're naturally bendy, and those are ideal. Those nice straight corners are ideal for the flaps that we're going to use to secure it to the bottle. So when you're drawing it out, line up your dotted line with the corner, because that means that you're not going to have some fun trying to fold that neatly. And then very simply, all you need to do is draw round your template, and if you push down on the template, you should get relatively straight lines. And don't forget to draw around your tab that we're going to use to secure it to the rocket, and then label it nice and clearly as a number 1 or a number 2. Now, from a cereal packet, you should relatively easily be able, if you position them carefully, you should be able to get 3 fins out of each side, and then do your 2 templates on the other side of the packet. So from one cereal packet, you should be able to get 6 fins if you just think carefully about where you're positioning them, so that they will all fit. So when we cut it out, they will then look something like this. So I've now got a 1 fin and a 2 fin, and I've started to decorate these ones, and you'll see that what I can do is place those together, and then the 2 sides, the 1 side and the 2 side match, and then these conveniently folding corners provide us the sections that we're going to use to secure it to the rocket. So the next thing that I need to do is glue those together. So I take one of them, place it down, and I'm using just a glue stick, and I'm making sure that there's glue all over the entire surface of that plasticky side, not the tab, just the fin. And then you can line up your other side to that, make sure it's in position. And what you end up with is that. So your decorated fin, it's good and thick and strong, 2 layers of cereal packet, and we've got those tabs ready to secure it to the rocket. So I'm going to leave that over there to dry for a moment. My next task is to work out where I'm going to put the fins on the rocket. Now, a circle has 360 degrees, and if you divide that into 3, what do you get? Absolutely correct, 120 degrees. So we need 120 degrees between the fins. Now you can work that out by eye. It's not a disaster if they're not exactly right. But what I've got here is a little jig that I've created. It's just a cardboard pot, and what I've done is I've marked lines on here for if I want a 4-fin rocket or 3. So the blue lines are for 4. So they're just at 90 degrees to each other. The red lines are at 120 degrees around the outside. And what that means is that I can place my rocket on top, and I can use a permanent marker to mark on where my rocket's fins should go using the jig. Now, approximate is fine. It just gives you an approximate location where you're going to be placing those fins. Now at this point would be a good point to decorate the rest of the rocket, because once we fix the fins on, it's going to be quite difficult to add anything else. So having decorated our rocket, starts to look something more like this, and I've already fixed 2 of the fins on here, and I'm now going to fix the 3rd fin on where the line where I marked it. Try and line the back of your fin up with the flat part of the bottle before it curves round, and that will just stop it getting in the way with the launch mechanism. So if I place that on top there, I can then use a piece of electrical tape to secure it in position. You'll have to work out whether you need more tape on just to make sure that it's good and secure. You may want some tape around the bottom edge or over the top just to make sure that it fits in place. And so we've now got our bottle rocket with our nose cone that's moving the centre of gravity towards the front. We've decorated, you see some students have already decorated this rocket, and we've added our 3 fins, which gives us our bottle rocket that is ready for launch. So see the instructions on the To The Moon website for how you would go about getting hold of a launcher for this, a bicycle pump, and being ready to launch your rocket around about 50 metres into the air, and then you can experiment and find out lots of other things and modifications you can make to these types of rockets to make them even better. So now it's over to you to make your bottle rocket.